Disclaimer: this content is intended for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised. It started like any ordinary evening. The air smelled of garlic and herbs, the soft hum of jazz music playing in the background as the kitchen lights cast a warm glow across the countertop. Al had just come home from work, loosening his tie and flashing that familiar, tired smile that still made my heart skip. He wasn't much of a cook, but tonight he offered to help. It was something about the way he rolled up his sleeves, like he wanted to be part of more than just the meal. We moved around the kitchen in that gentle rhythm couples fall into after years together, passing spices, tasting sauces, laughing when the pepper shaker broke in his hand. It felt normal. Comforting. But then, just as I reached for a plate above the stove, I felt his hand brush gently against my waist. At first, I thought it was accidental. After all, kitchens can be tight. But when his hand lingered, warm and deliberate, I froze. He leaned in closer, his breath soft against my neck. "Let's start on the bed," he whispered, with that half grin I hadn't seen in a while. I turned, wide-eyed, heart pounding. "No," I said softly, caught between surprise and the swirl of questions rising in my chest. It wasn't just what he said, it was how he said it. Like there was something more, something underneath the surface of that suggestion. That's when I saw it. A flicker in his eyes, not just desire, but something unreadable. It wasn't like Al. Or maybe, it was, and I had never noticed before. He didn't argue. He just smiled, picked up a dish towel, and continued washing the tomatoes, like nothing had happened. Like we hadn't just crossed an invisible line in the middle of our kitchen. I tried to shake off the chill crawling up my spine. Maybe I was overthinking it. Maybe he was just being playful. But when I reached for my phone on the counter, it buzzed, one new message. From a number I didn't recognize. The text read, "He's not who you think he is. Be careful tonight." I stared at the screen, the hum of the jazz music now sounding eerily distant. I looked up at Al. He was still smiling. Still slicing tomatoes. Still pretending everything was okay. And that's when it hit me, what if tonight was never about cooking at all? I stood there for a second longer, the phone still in my hand, staring at the message. My heart beat faster now, not from what Al had just said, but from the sudden wave of confusion that hit me. Who would send something like that? Why tonight, of all nights? I didn't want to believe anything was wrong. Al was my husband. My partner. We had our ups and downs, sure, but nothing that ever felt dangerous. Still, something about that text, something about him tonight, felt off. I put the phone face down, trying not to let my thoughts spiral. He looked up from the counter and caught my eyes. "Everything okay?" he asked, as if he didn't notice my whole body go still. "Yeah," I said, forcing a smile. "Just someone from work." He nodded, then walked over and gently tucked a loose strand of hair behind my ear. "You've been so tense lately. Thought maybe we could relax tonight. Just you and me." His touch was soft, familiar, even comforting. But now, it carried something else too, a weight I couldn't name. The warmth I used to feel when he looked at me like that was now tangled with doubt. I wanted to believe he meant well. Maybe he was trying to reconnect. Maybe this was all in my head. But then, I remembered the last few weeks. The way he'd come home late, without much explanation. The odd phone calls he'd step out to take. The times he'd touch my back in passing, but I'd feel like he was checking something, not showing affection. All those little signs I'd brushed off suddenly pieced together, in ways I didn't want to admit. Still, I kept moving. The pasta was boiling, the sauce simmering, and Ol poured us both a glass of wine. To us, he said, lifting his glass toward mine. I hesitated, then clinked it. But I didn't take a sip. I needed to stay clear. Alert. Because something about tonight, about him, felt like a test. And I wasn't sure if I was supposed to pass, or fail. Just as I turned back to the stove, I noticed something strange, his phone, left unlocked on the kitchen bar, screen glowing. An open chat. The name at the top wasn't one I recognized. But the last message on it. She won't see it coming. Make it look natural. I kept my eyes on the sauce, pretending to stir while my mind raced. That message on his phone, she won't see it coming. Make it look natural. It repeated in my head like a warning siren. I wanted to ask him, right then and there, who it was from. But something stopped me. Maybe it was fear. Maybe it was that smile on his face that didn't quite reach his eyes. I had never felt like this around Ol before. He was always the one I trusted, the one who made me feel safe. But tonight, in our own kitchen, I felt like I didn't even know him. He moved behind me again, close enough that I could feel the heat of his body. His hand brushed my shoulder. Smells amazing, he said. You've always been good at making home feel like home. I forced a smile, pretending to enjoy the moment, but my chest felt tight. My eyes drifted again toward his phone, still lit, the chat still open. The name at the top, V, was all it showed. No last name. No photo. Just a single letter that felt like a crack in everything I thought I knew. Hey, I said, trying to sound casual. Who's V? He blinked, the wine glass halfway to his lips. What? On your phone, I added, pointing. You left it open. His eyes shifted, just for a second, before he smiled again. Oh? That's just a buddy from work. Vince. We've been working on that new project I told you about. He said it so easily, like the lie rolled off his tongue without a second thought. But my gut told me different. Ol never mentioned a Vince. Never once in the years we'd been married. I nodded slowly, not wanting to push too hard just yet. I didn't know you were still on that project, I said, testing the waters. Thought it wrapped last week. He shrugged. Some follow-up stuff. Boring meetings. Nothing you'd want to hear about. I let it go, for now. But the feeling didn't leave. The tension in the room thickened, even though he turned the music up and poured me another glass. Everything he did felt just a little too perfect, a little too controlled. Later that night, while he stepped out to take a call, I checked his phone again. It was locked now. No chat. No proof. Just my thoughts, spinning faster than I could stop them. And yet, a part of me still wanted to believe it was nothing. That maybe we were just out of sync. That maybe I'd let stress and doubt cloud the man I thought I knew. But deep down, I couldn't shake the truth, there was something going on. Something he wasn't telling me. And if that message was right, maybe it was about to change everything. The kitchen was quiet now, too quiet. The only sound was the ticking clock on the wall and the low simmer of sauce still left on the stove. Ol had stepped outside onto the back porch to take another call, and I was left staring at the empty wine glass in my hand. My fingers trembled slightly. I couldn't shake the message, or the strange calm he carried like nothing was wrong. The silence in the house felt louder than anything. I moved slowly, careful not to make a sound, and tiptoed toward the back door. Through the glass, I could see him. His back was to me, one hand gripping the railing, the other holding his phone. His voice was low, and I couldn't make out every word, but I heard enough. She suspects something. No, I've kept it smooth. She still thinks it's just dinner and wine. My stomach turned. Every nerve in my body screamed. I backed away before he turned around, slipping into the hallway and leaning against the wall. I didn't know what I was more afraid of, that I was right, or that I wasn't. That message, she won't see it coming. Was this about betrayal? Or something worse? I couldn't stay silent anymore. I needed answers. But I had to be smart. I had to act normal until I figured out what I was really dealing with. My phone buzzed again. Another unknown number. I opened the message, and this time, it wasn't just a warning. It was a photo. It was Al. With a woman I didn't recognize. A hotel room in the background. His arms around her. Time-stamped, just 4 nights ago. My hand shook so badly, I almost dropped the phone. This wasn't just a misunderstanding. He wasn't just hiding something small. He was living a whole lie behind my back. And yet, as I stood frozen in the hallway, I heard the screen door creak open behind me. His voice called softly, "Babe. You okay?" I turned, slowly, phone still in hand. He was smiling again, but this time, I noticed something else in his eyes. Not confusion. Not guilt. Something darker. Like he knew I'd seen it. And he was waiting, to see what I'd do next. He stepped back into the kitchen, closing the screen door gently behind him like he didn't want to wake a sleeping baby. I stood still in the hallway, clutching my phone, the photo still glowing on the screen. His eyes met mine, and for a split second, everything in the room felt frozen. It was like we were holding our breath at the same time, waiting to see who would speak first. "Is everything okay?" he asked again, but this time his voice was softer, cautious, like he already knew the answer. I raised my phone slowly, the image still visible between us. "Who is she, Al?" He didn't respond right away. Just looked at the screen, then back at me. The smile faded. And something in his face changed, not regret, not panic, almost like relief. Like he'd been waiting for this moment. "You weren't supposed to see that," he said quietly. I felt my throat tighten. "So it's true." He nodded once, then stepped closer. "Listen, it's complicated. You have no idea what's been happening." I stepped back. "Then tell me. Tell me why you've been lying. Who sent me that picture? Who's V?" He sighed and ran a hand through his hair. "V isn't who you think. It's not just one person. It's part of something bigger." I stared at him, completely lost. "What does that even mean, Al? You're cheating. There's nothing bigger than that." He looked around like someone might be listening. "No. I wasn't supposed to cheat. That wasn't the plan. She was part of something else. I got involved in something, okay. It started at work. One deal turned into another. Then people started watching. Recording. Tracking my movements." I blinked, trying to process his words. "Are you saying you're being blackmailed?" He nodded, voice barely a whisper. "They said if I didn't cooperate, they'd come after you. They used her to trap me, to get leverage. I didn't think they'd go this far." My heart was pounding so loud, I could barely hear the words coming out of his mouth. Just then, his phone buzzed again. He didn't move to check it. We both just stared at it on the counter. I said, my voice trembling, what exactly did you do? He looked at me, eyes dark with something I couldn't name. I gave them access to the firm's private files. I thought it was just financials, but it turns out it was bigger. Way bigger. And now, I think they want me out of the way. A cold chill ran through me. This wasn't just about betrayal anymore. This was about danger. Real danger. And suddenly, everything in our house, the music, the food, the wine, it all felt like a setup. Al stepped closer, lowering his voice. You need to trust me now. Because they think you know too much. Let me know when you're ready to move into the final act. I backed away slowly, my heart pounding like it was trying to escape my chest. Al's words kept repeating in my head. They think you know too much. I had no idea who they were, or what they were capable of, but if he was telling the truth, then this wasn't just about lies or cheating anymore. It was about survival. And the way he was looking at me now, like I was part of the plan he never wanted to make, scared me more than the photo ever could. Then we go to the police, I said, trying to stay calm. Right now. He shook his head. It's too late for that. They've already covered their tracks. They own people inside. I only told you because I didn't want you to get caught in the middle. And yet, I said, my voice low, you brought it into our home. Just then, the doorbell rang. Both of us froze. It was nearly midnight. Al reached for my hand and whispered, don't answer it. But I pulled away and walked toward the door slowly. Through the peephole, I saw a woman, tall, wearing a grey coat, her face familiar. I opened the door just enough to see her eyes. Sharp. Cold. I'm here for Al, she said. He didn't finish what he started. I looked back at him. He had gone pale. Close the door, he said, panic rising in his voice. But she stepped forward, pulling out a badge. FBI. He's not who you think he is. I stared at her, then at him. What? She stepped inside, lowered her voice. Your husband has been undercover for 2 years. Deep surveillance. We had to stage the relationship, the threats, even the betrayal. It was all part of the cover. But he went too far. He broke protocol. And now, we need to bring him in. I turned to Al, every part of me shaking. Is that true? He looked defeated. Yes. I was trying to protect you, but I got in too deep. The agent placed a firm hand on his shoulder. We'll handle it from here. As they walked him out, Al turned one last time. I still meant it, about us. And just when I thought it was over, my phone buzzed again. One new message. No name. Just a single line, he's not the only one who lied. Let me know when you're ready for the epilogue. I stood frozen at the door long after Al and the agent disappeared into the night. The cold air had slipped in around me, but I barely felt it. My hand still gripped the phone, and that final message, he's not the only one who lied, sat on the screen like it was waiting to unravel something even deeper. I read it again, wondering what more could possibly be hidden. But no other message came. Just silence. Over the next few days, everything changed. The house felt emptier, but also clearer. Al didn't come back. The agency reached out to confirm parts of his story, but the details were blurred, some of it classified, some of it never meant to reach me. The woman in the photo. A fellow agent. Their affair was part of the act, part of keeping the criminals convinced. But that didn't mean there weren't real emotions tangled in the mess he left behind. I had to decide what was real. The way he touched my waist in the kitchen. The way he looked at me just before he left. I kept replaying those moments, unsure if they were love, or part of the lie. But I knew one thing for sure. Ul had gotten in too deep, and somewhere along the way, he forgot to come back to the surface. That last message haunted me. Was it someone else from the agency? Someone watching? Or someone trying to protect me the whole time? Weeks passed, and slowly, I rebuilt my routine. I returned to cooking alone. The music still played, but softer now. Every time I stirred a pot, or poured a glass of wine, I felt a trace of the night it all fell apart. But I wasn't scared anymore. I was awake. One morning, a letter arrived. No return address. Inside was a photo, me and Ul, laughing in the kitchen months ago. A single line was written on the back. You were the only thing that was ever real. I smiled, and for the first time in a long while, I let myself believe it. Thank you for watching this story. How did you feel about the ending? Was Ul a hero, a liar, or something in between? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you want a sequel? Would you trust someone like him again?